LEGO Marvel Superheroes has been going strong for well over a decade now. Ever since LEGO Marvel's inception in 2012, it's become one of my personal favorite LEGO themes based on one of my personal favorite franchises in all of entertainment. I've been collecting the sets pretty consistently since 2012, starting with that first wave of Avengers leading all the way into hopefully Fantastic Four stuff coming this summer. Unfortunately though, there have been a lot of stinkers along the way, some truly awful LEGO Marvel sets. In my video last week, I talked about the top 10 worst LEGO Marvel sets of all time. However, I'm feeling a lot more positive today, and I feel like that video needs a more encouraging companion piece. So in today's video, we'll be honoring the cream of the crop, the best of the best from the Marvel Cinematic Universe in LEGO form. Without further ado, here are my picks for the top 10 LEGO MCU sets of all time. The only specific rule for today's video is they have to be sets based on something from the MCU proper. This was one of my many rules for the worst sets video, so it only felt fair to do the best sets in the same exact category. That means some notable sets will not even be considered for today's list, including the Daily Bugle, the X-Mansion, the old Spider-Man sets, etc. Hopefully that makes sense. Now let's dive into the countdown. Number 10. 76251 Star-Lord's helmet. If you've been following my content for the past few years, you'd probably know I'm not the biggest fan of these LEGO helmet sets. Obviously the LEGO Star Wars theme has the vast majority of them, and some of them look very cool, don't get me wrong, but a lot of them look incredibly mediocre. And once you've built one, it kind of feels like you've built them all. The builds are quite repetitive. And the helmet sets from other LEGO themes have not even been as good as the Star Wars ones, which weren't great to begin with, if you ask me. We had that weird decapitated head of Shadow the Hedgehog from the Sonic sets, which was just awful in a lot of different ways. A couple of different Batman cows were made, which didn't look great. And then there's LEGO Marvel. We had a pretty good Spider-Man mask, I'll give that one some credit, but we had the Venom and Carnage heads that just looked average, and then the Iron Man helmet that looked really awful, a very disappointing build. I'm adding all of this context because it makes it so much more interesting to me that Star-Lord's helmet is in my top 10 LEGO Marvel Cinematic Universe sets of all time. I love this set, and I'm blown away by how good the design techniques on display are here. The proportions, the color choices, the shaping, everything is just spot on 360 degrees around. This is such a fabulous design. But the thing that ultimately put this set over the top for me is that it actually kind of has a play feature. Most of these helmets are completely stagnant models that can't do anything besides be put on a shelf. But this one doubles as a pencil holder. So not only is this an absolutely fabulous looking design, it has a real world function. How clever is that? This is the ultimate LEGO Marvel desk display piece. And for all of those reasons, I think this is the perfect set to kick off this list. Number 9, 76200 Bro Thor's New Asgard. Not that the name of the set actually matters in the grand scheme of things when it comes to the quality of the build, but LEGO actually calling this Bro Thor's New Asgard is hysterical to me. And one of the main reasons I wanted to include this set on this list is because they were able to make something truly special in a relatively small package. Admittedly, a lot of the sets you're going to see in today's video are pretty big and quite expensive. And while I love a good cheap LEGO set, they're never quite as interesting to me, especially as an adult collector. So seeing them able to come up with something this creative and this fun and this well thought out at a $30 price point is a breath of fresh air. And there's so much detail jam-packed into this corner of a room. Additionally, the minifigures are so much fun, and I love the pseudo Fortnite reference, which was kind of foreshadowing for the theme eventually becoming a reality a few years later. Number 8, 76209 Thor's Hammer. Like the helmet sets, the buildable object sets have never really been my personal preference when it comes to LEGO builds for any theme. And there have been some good ones from Marvel. The gauntlets they made for both the Infinity Gauntlet and the Nano Gauntlet both look good. Captain America's shield was an incredibly repetitive build, but ultimately I think looks nice. But none of them, in my opinion, come even close to Thor's hammer this is a pretty spectacular design. I mean, the shaping here is wonderful. It's also incredibly sturdy and can be wielded like a proper Mjolnir. Additionally, it's pretty much a 1-to-1 scale replica, which is super fun and a great display piece. If this set had some additional printing to get those markings on there, it might have been higher on this list, but the design is so good it had to make my countdown. Number 7. 76261 Spider-Man Final Battle. Really, my only issue with this set is that it didn't come out sooner. It took like a year and a half for them to give us a real proper Spider-Man No Way Home set, but they finally delivered and it was a banger. First off, the minifigure lineup here is spectacular. Green Goblin, not the greatest in the world, I will admit, but everyone else looks great. The 3 Spider-Men especially, it's just so much fun seeing them all together in one Lego set and recreating that iconic moment from the No Way Home movie. And then there's the design for the head of the Statue of Liberty, and it looks really darn good. LEGO did a great job with the shaping here. And overall, this set really came together as a display piece, but if you're a kid, there's a lot to play with here as well. I love this thing. Number 6, 76051 Superhero Airport Battle. Now, the remake of this set that just came out here in winter of 2025 was included as one of the worst Marvel Cinematic Universe sets of all time in last week's video. Ironically, the 2016 version is one of the best Marvel sets ever created. I'm especially impressed with how good this set ended up being because it came out before the movie, and a lot of times LEGO Marvel sets that tie in with movies aren't that great because Marvel's very secretive and they don't give LEGO a lot of material to make sets on. But they were able to get enough material here and it looks really darn good. All of the builds are great. The airport stuff, yeah, not the most exciting thing ever, but it's really solidly designed, had some fun little Easter eggs and references, and I think it just gets the job done. The Quinjet was smaller and compact than previous versions, but it wasn't so tiny that it felt insignificant. It's a really solid little build. And then finally, Giant Man. Oh my goodness, one of my favorite Marvel builds ever. The way he is replicating the shape of an actual LEGO minifigure, but at a massive scale, is super clever and looks amazing. LEGO has done a lot of other weird things to make Giant Man since then, including buildable figures and a mech in the most recent in-game Final Battle set, but none of them have even come close to topping this original version from 2016. Number 5, 76193, the Guardians' ship. Otherwise known as the Benatar, this orange vessel flown by the Guardians of the Galaxy in the Avengers movies is a really cool looking ship design, and LEGO made it into a pretty effective $70 set in 2018. When I heard they were remaking it in 2021, I was honestly a bit perplexed. I don't think it needed a remake so soon, but I am very thankful they did because this much larger version was able to capture it a lot more effectively. This design is pretty much spot on. It just looks so darn good. The shaping is spectacular. The interior looks nice. It has all the functions you would want. This is truly a great build. Additionally, it has a display stand, which I really appreciate, making this a great play scale set that's also essentially like an 18+ display piece as well. Number 4, 76042, the S.H.I.E.L.D. Helicarrier. Admittedly, I think this set has aged poorly in some regard. Mainly all of the exposed studs don't look great by modern LEGO standards. I think if they were to remake this, some of the newer parts they have in their catalog could greatly improve the design quality of this vehicle. However, for 2015, it looks pretty darn good, and it's a really massive ship, and I thought it was very clever how they made the small models of the jet planes, the Quinjets, and had the micro figures as well. And one of the main reasons it ultimately ended up in my top 5 best Marvel Cinematic Universe sets of all time is simply because of nostalgia. I received this set as a gift for my high school graduation, really dating myself here. And at the end of the day, this is my list, and I'm going to include the sets that mean a lot to me as high as I can. Objectively, I think the 3 sets above this one are just better designs, but I still have such a soft spot for this set. Number 3, 76218 Sanctum Sanctorum. LEGO has made a number of Sanctum Sanctorum sets throughout the years. A couple of them have been the interior of the building. We even got a pretty good play scale version of this in 2018, but none of them are nearly as good as the modular building rendition from 2022. I do wish that they didn't cut off the roof at kind of an awkward point to make this a corner building. That's a little bit awkward of a design technique, and frankly, I think that prevented this set from being a little bit higher on this list. But other than that, this thing looks pretty spectacular if you ask me, and it's such a fun building architecturally. The printed window piece looks perfect, all the coloring, all the shaping, all the interior details are phenomenal. This is a really fun set, and I also love how they gave us scenes from both Infinity War and Multiverse of Madness. You're a weirdo though if you're displaying the Multiverse of Madness version of this set. Infinity War for the win, baby. Number 2, 76286, the Milano spaceship. Again, if you've been following me for the past year or so, you know how much I adore this LEGO Milano set. It was my favorite Guardians of the Galaxy set ever made. It was number 2 on my best sets of 2024 video. I think this is the LEGO Guardians of the Galaxy's magnum opus. The Milano is just iconic. It's such a cool ship design, and this is just a perfect rendition of it in LEGO form. First off, it's massive. Second off, the design techniques are incredible. Third off, the angles here, which are not normal, it's kind of an oddly shaped ship in the MCU, are so well done. The brick-built sculpting of this vehicle is out of this world, and I love Guardians of the Galaxy. It's my favorite standalone MCU property, and this, in my opinion, is the ultimate flagship for that entire sub-theme. Before I reveal my number 1, I wanted to shout out a few honorable mentions. Last year's the Avengers Assemble Age of Ultron set is a really clever and fun display piece and looks even better after the disappointment of the Civil War and Endgame sets they've made this year. The original Quinjet set from 2012 hasn't aged quite as well as some of the other LEGO Marvel sets, but holds a special place in my heart. The aforementioned Infinity Gauntlet and Nano Gauntlet sets are really spectacular looking builds. And finally, the Goat Boat. Yeah, the Goat Boat is getting an honorable mention here today. Yes, Thor Love and Thunder is a garbage movie, and yes, the screaming goats were an outdated joke even before the film was released in 2022, but this set is a great design that was a great price and has amazing looking minifigures. It's a great set from an otherwise horrible movie. With those honorable mentions out of the way, it's now time for number 1. 76269 Avengers Tower. I feel like nobody is surprised by this pick. The Avengers Tower has clearly been the best Marvel Cinematic Universe set ever since it was revealed a couple of years ago. Honestly, if you don't think it's the best MCU set, I frankly think you're wrong. Like, yeah, sure, it's a subjective opinion, but come on, let's be objective here for a minute. How is anything possibly better than this? The only Marvel set in general that can actually measure up to the Avengers Tower is the Daily Bugle, which didn't qualify for this list because it's not based on the MCU. The design of this thing is just spectacular. It's absolutely massive, and then if you're a big minifigure fan, well, there's like 30 of them here, the most in any LEGO set ever. And yeah, it was a $500 set, but it was worth $500. LEGO gave it a high price tag, and they made it feel worth said price tag. This set is just a triumphant product. I don't see any other possibility than the LEGO Marvel Superheroes set number 76269 Avengers Tower being number 1 on this list. And there you have it. Those are my picks for the top 10 best LEGO MCU sets of all time. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. Thank you all so much for watching today's video. Have a fantastic rest of your day. Peace out. God bless. Bye-bye.